Before we even begin here, I would like to thank you very much for your purchase. Before we start talking about the ins and outs and the particulars of paleo, I want to share a couple of core concepts because, let's face it, the average person isn't in love with what they see when they look in the mirror. In fact, more and more people are stressed out because they're overweight, weak, and struggling with this mounting pile of diseases with names that seem to get longer and more exotic by the year. You already know that. From diabetes to acne, it's getting harder and harder to keep our bodies in balance and in shape. And of course, the fitness industry hasn't done much to help. They've marketed plenty of fad diets and new pills, but they seem more designed to pad their wallets than to improve people's health. So, what's been going wrong? It might be our diets. Thousands of years ago, humans worked as hunter-gatherers. They chased down everything they ate and perfected their bodies through generations of work. In fact, we got so good at it that we invented agriculture to supplement our diets. But recent research is showing that our bodies don't respond to grains the way that we've always thought they did. You got to remember that grains are high in carbohydrates, and the less we work out throughout the day, the more glucose is stored in our systems. And that glucose is quickly stored as fat. High levels of glucose in the blood can force us to store fat and can even be responsible for diabetes. In addition, most of these grains contain glutens. And you may have seen a lot of gluten-free foods in supermarkets lately. More and more of our population is being diagnosed as intolerant to gluten. But this protein pops up in all kinds of grains. The stuff is very hard to digest, and it secretes chemicals that damage your intestines. That's not all there is to worry about. Modern grain-based foods have a high quality of white flour. And this processed flour has good good substances like bran and germ removed from them while they're being processed. And afterwards, they're bleached with a lot of nasty chemicals. Now, sugar causes problems too. And it needs to be avoided because of the nutritional value, which is completely lacking, and the dangerous health consequences that come with taking it. Now, much like white flour, processed sugar has lost all of the qualities that might give it some health value. It's stored as glucose, makes us fat, ruins our teeth, and it inhibits proper brain function. Now, worst of all, many people are addicted to sugar and don't even think about it during their day-to-day routines. Our ancestors never ate any of these things. And we also eat processed foods without thinking about them. When we might marvel, and enjoy how convenient they are, but we don't think about the havoc they wreak on our bodies. And I'm not talking about some far-flung future where you might get a strange disease. Stuff like potato chips and microwave dinners, they make you feel weak, they make you feel slow almost immediately after taking them in. Now, as human beings, we have bodies that are very good at adapting. We can adapt to heat. We can adapt to temperature. We can adapt to a lot of different things. And so you might not notice this stuff right away because your body tries to normalize and balance things out. However, as somebody who's actually gotten away from these kind of foods, the white flours, the sugars, the processed stuff, and ask them to try some of it and look at the way that they react to it physically, because their reaction can tell you a lot about the real health value, rather lack of value, of these foods. So if you've experienced some of this stuff in your life, or you're just looking to improve your overall health, it is time for a change. Remember that paleo isn't just a diet. We're going to call it a diet a few times through this course, just, for simplicity's sake. But in reality, it is a lifestyle focused on eliminating elements in our own diets that do the most harm, and increasing the things that humans have used the best throughout history. We're talking grass-fed meat, vegetables, seeds, nuts, the occasional fruit. If you take 2 weeks and you join us on this challenge and look at the very real effects that this is going to have on your weight and your fitness level, without compromising, without cheating, without backing up, without running away from it, you are going to see real effects and dramatic results. So come with me. Let's learn about the paleo diet and let's get ourselves started on the road to a healthier body.